Lesson 6 is all about working with the basic drawing tools. You should have downloaded the Lesson 6 folder, and we can get started by double-clicking on the L6 Start Illustrator file. First things first, let's go up to File and do a Save As. And let's rename this our Outdoor _ logo, and let's put our name on it. Make sure it's saved as Adobe Illustrator format. Click Save and OK for the options. To get started, let's go over to our Properties panel and let's choose Artboard number 1. The tool that we're going to be using is going to be our Curvature tool, but before we choose it, let's click on the circle and lock it down by going up to Object, hover over Lock, and choose Selection. Next, let's choose our Curvature tool. With it selected, this lets us draw lines, so let's make sure our fill color is set to none. Our stroke color can be set to 4 points, and the color of our stroke is going to be this 90K gray that's selected here. With that set up, let's start by clicking once right here on the edge of our circle. You can see how it's going to align to the path. Then we can move straight across, and it creates an initial straight line. Now, if yours is off by a little bit, that's okay. However, notice that as you move, it's going to automatically start to curve the curvature of your line. So let's put a little one up here, and then finally bring it down straight, as if it's making a wave. Let's connect it across over to this side. Now to stop drawing, and so that we don't edit the next path, with it still selected, you can go up to Object, and we can also lock this artwork down as well too. Let's have a little river running from this lower point out into the lower part of this circle. To do this, we'll start drawing by clicking here on the path. We can then click outward here to start. Let's have it meander back this way, and then back along this way, and then maybe curve just a little bit more right about there. If you want to stop editing at any point, you can also hit the Escape key, and that will deselect and stop drawing what we're drawing on. Next, let's go up to Select and deselect the line. Now we can start drawing a new point. Let's click up towards the center. Let's move downward, and then curve out, and then curve down just a bit more right about here. Once again, to stop drawing, you can hit the Escape key to stop drawing along that path. Now, if you want to edit a path, you can always use the Curvature tool to click on a path to select it. And then when you hover over a point, you can click on it and drag it in to be able to adjust its position. So let's click on this one and pull it in just a bit, and click on this one at the bottom and reposition it along this edge of the path. You can also click on any other path. Whoops, let's deselect this one first. Let's go up to Object and unlock all of the ones we've been working on. Now we can click on this path and be able to edit it. Rather than clicking on the individual points, you can click inside of any path and be able to add a point and be able to drag and adjust it as well. So if we wanted this one to have a bit more curve, that adds a point to it. It allows us to readjust it. If you did want to deselect or delete a point, you can always click on it, hit the Delete key, and that puts it back into position. Let's hit the Escape key and Shift Command A to deselect it completely. Now, if we wanted to be able to make straight lines, we need to hold down our Command or Control key, select the line that we want to lock down, in this case, this line. Let's go up to Object and lock the selection. That way we don't accidentally select it. Then we can click once on the path and then go up, make a point. This time when we go down, yes, it will create a curve, but at any time if you double click on an anchor point, it converts it to a straight edge. You can then go back and add as many points as you want, and then you can double click to convert those to straight edge points. You can also hold down the Option key to click, and the next time you click on that point, it will add straight points from then on out. At any time, if you need to convert it to a straight point, double click, or if you double click again, it'll convert it back to a curved point. Let's go through and add a little bit of peaks to the mountains. And remember, you can always go back and readjust your mountain peaks to suit however you see fit. Let's add some little variation to these. That looks good there. Let's press the Escape key one more time to stop drawing. Let's go up to Select and deselect it to stop drawing completely too. Now we can go up and choose our Selection tool. Let's scooch over to the left here and select this line off to the left. We want to break this up into a dashed line. Even though it's one solid vector line, we can always go over to our Stroke panel and open it up. And let's activate our dashed line. Notice by default it has a little bit of dashes and gaps already set up, and the amount of dashing and gap can be custom set inside of these down here. So with this selected, let's set the first dash to be 35 points. Whoops, so it to be 35 points. There we go. Let's set the first gap to be 4, then the next dash to be 5, and the next gap to be 4. When you hit return, you can see how it creates this kind of gappage inside of our little stroke. Finally, let's choose Preserve Exact Gap Length to have it shifted over to the edge here. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see the other edge of my circle as well. With the dash line still selected, let's choose our Rotate tool. With Rotate tool, let's click on the center origin point and let's drag it till we see the center of the circle light up. That'll put it on the central point that we want to rotate this around. Finally, let's hold down the Option key and set it one more time. When we do this, this will open up the options for our Rotate tool. We want to rotate this around the central axis -15 degrees and make sure Preview is turned on. To make a copy of it, say Copy. And notice the second one is now created. To make 10 more copies going around the outside edge, you can go up to Object and tell it to transform again, or you can do Command D, and you can see how it'll do it again until it makes copies all the way around the edge of our circle to 180 degrees. Let's cut off the bottom of this circle by using our Rectangle tool. Let's click and drag and make a little rectangle down here at the bottom that overlaps everything. Notice that it automatically has that dotted line set to it. If we need to, we can go up to Object and let's unlock everything. That'll unlock our circle. Then with our black arrow selection tool, we can select both the circle, hold down Shift, and also get the rectangular path. So just the rectangle and the circle are selected. Now let's use our Shape Builder tool to click and drag and hold down the Option key to erase away this bottom portion. Notice these extra little bits will be sticking off. That's okay because we're going to use our black arrow selection tool to click on the words camp and drag it up. Let's bring it in front of everything by going to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front. That'll cover up that bottom portion. Now let's rearrange it so that we can see what we're working with so that it doesn't cover up. I think that looks pretty good. Let's go right about there. Now another way we can make drawn lines is with the pencil tool. Let's go up to our Properties panel and choose the second artboard. Now to locate the pencil tool, it may be grouped with either the paintbrush tool or it may be grouped with the shaper tool. In my case, here it is with the shaper tool. With this tool selected, you can double click on the icon to bring up the pencil tool options. Now for this exercise, the only thing we want to change up is to make the fidelity of our drawing to be very smooth and cartoonish. Everything else we're going to keep by the default and simply say OK. Before we start drawing, in the Properties panel, make sure your fill color is set to none, your stroke color is still set to this 90% gray, and let's set our stroke size to be 3 point. Now for this flame, we're going to do this in one pass. Simply click starting on the red line and carefully move around following the little dotted line. Now if yours gets off by a little bit, as you can see mine is, that's okay. The main thing is that you're following this as closely as possible And when you get to the end, you can see how it turns into a circle and you let go. It'll smoothly transition everything out and draw the flame as a nice smooth vector line. Now, at any time, if your path doesn't look smooth, you can always hover your pencil tool over a selected path and be able to redraw off the way you want that path to look, and it'll automatically change. So simply holding, clicking and dragging, and then redrawing it until it looks the way you like. With it still selected, let's change its fill color now to be this bright red. Now let's practice drawing with the pencil tool some straight lines. Again, we'll start off with the red, click and drag around until it goes up to the blue. Once you reach this point, hold down the Option key if you're on a Mac or the Alt key if you're on a Windows. You can see it turns to a straight line, and it'll allow you to draw a straight line from here to this point. Now, still holding down your mouse, let go of the Option, and it goes back to our regular drawing tool. And then down here, hold down Option or Alt and go back all the way to the starting point, and you can let go of your mouse and it automatically fills it in. So the Option key gives you the ability to swap over to a straight line tool as long as that Option or Alt key is being held down. Now with it still selected, let's go to our fill color. Let's fill it in with a dark brown. Choose that dark brown. Let's use our selection tool and move this up and into place. And let's put this behind the fire. With the log still selected, we can go over to Arrange and let's send it to the back. Now we can select both of the log and the fire. Let's go up to Edit and copy both of those. We'll go to the next artboard by deselecting everything. Go over to your Properties panel and choose the arrow over to go to the third one. And let's go up to Edit and Paste. This will paste it into place, and all we've got to do is to move it up and into position there. Now let's play around with the Join tool. We'll zoom into this little circle here. With it selected, let's go over to our Eraser tool and locate your Scissors tool. Clicking at the very top center anchor point will snip it from there. Then we can use our white arrow direct selection tool to click on this topmost point. Let's drag it up and off to the side. Let's do the same for this one, up and off to the side till it's nice and parallel. We can then click and drag over both of them to have both of those points selected. And if we want to get rid of the little curve at the edge of it, check out over in the Properties panel, we can convert this to a solid anchor point, which will look something like that. Finally, to join both of these together, if you're not already in the advanced settings, you can go up to your window, down to your tools, and make sure Advanced Tools are turned on. We want to locate the Join tool, which is located underneath your Pencil tool. Here it is here. And with the Join tool, you can click and drag over both of these lines, and it will automatically recognize the edge of them and join them together. Now with this done, let's use our Selection tool and select our little teardrop shape. We'll zoom out. Let's move over and bring it on top of our fire by going up to Object, Arrange, and let's bring it to the front. Finally, we may have to hold down Shift and scale it down just a bit. Let's place it right here at the bottom edge of the fire. That's looking good. Finally, we can choose the word Camp. Let's move it up. Whoops, don't go into isolation mode. Let's move it up and make sure it's also arranged in front of everything and at the bottom edge of that little campfire. Finally, let's go to our Properties panel and go to the fourth artboard and bring it up. With our black arrow selection tool, let's select the pink line on the left and hold down Shift and get the one on the right as well. We want to add some arrows to these, so let's open up our stroke panel. Let's set the size or the weight of our stroke to be 3 point. And to add an arrowhead, notice the arrowheads down here. Let's choose the arrowhead number 5 for the first one. And then we'll choose the arrowhead number 17, which will be down here, for the second one. Now, if necessary, we can swap around the direction of both of these by clicking on the little arrows here, and that will put it on the opposite sides. Finally, we can scale down both of the different edges for the different sizes of these. So for this top one, let's set this to be about 70%. And for the other edge, let's set that to be about 50%. Finally, with both of those selected, we can set the stroke color of them to be white. With this done, we can click away and deselect everything, zoom out to see your work. Let's go up to File and Save, and you'll turn in this Illustrator document to the class page.